What if the next chapter for the Golden State Warriors is not just about roster moves or salary cap gymnastics, but centers on a quiet family tie that could reshape the fate of the Chase Center dynasty? Welcome back to Warriors News Fan Report, where raw truths collide with splash-era passion. Smash that like button, subscribe, and ring the bell so your heart never misses a beat. Horford, a seasoned veteran with championship blood flowing through his veins, stands at a crossroads that might send shockwaves through the Bay Area. The whispers aren't just about him hanging up his sneakers. The rumor mill is aflame, with speculation that he could instead don the royal blue and gold and become a key piece in the Warriors' puzzle. This changes everything. Insider Mark Spears from ESPN recently stirred the pot with an observation that sends the storyline beyond the hardwood and into the realm of family influence. Horford's 10-year-old son, Ian, is reportedly a diehard Stephen Curry fan, a basketball prodigy in his own right, who has started traveling with his father, feeding his love for the game and, more importantly, whispering dreams of seeing Dad lace up once more alongside his hero. Fans are buzzing. This isn't just idle talk. Spears lays it out plainly, but keep in mind, do you know who I think is going to be in this decision? His 10-year-old son, Ian? Imagine a child's fervent fandom becoming a secret catalyst for a veteran star's next move, a narrative that adds a human, almost cinematic layer to the cold calculations of NBA, free agency, and roster construction. The pressure is on the Warriors, who haven't yet made a splash in the free agency waters this offseason, are locked in a strategic limbo, their cards held close to the chest as they await full clarity on Jonathan Kuminga's contract situation, bottleneck that could seal or stall any further signings, including Horford's rumored handshake deal. And yet, whispers around the league suggest this isn't only about contracts and playing time. It's about filling the void left by Kevin Looney's departure to the Pelicans and experience. Steadying presence is desperately needed to shepherd the next wave of Dub Nation hopefuls like Quinn Cook, Moses Moody, and Kuminga himself. And that might be just the beginning. Horford fits this mold perfectly. A former Celtics champion whose production numbers may have dipped from 12.9 points per game a few years back to 9.0 recently, but whose sharpshooting beyond the arc and unshakable veteran presence could lend invaluable depth and mentorship to Golden State's young core. Nobody saw this coming. Flip the lens, and suddenly the story is as much about legacy as logistics. Could Horford's son's admiration for Curry be the emotional linchpin that sways the seasoned big man to continue playing, to fight through the twilight of his career, and to become the unanticipated glue holding this Warriors roster together? And where is Steph Curry in all this? Asked about the possible Horford deal, Curry's terse response: he's a champion, great player. When all that stuff happens, I'll talk about it. Only fans the flames of intrigue. His words a guarded nod that neither confirms nor denies, but promises fireworks if it comes to pass. This strategic patience contrasts sharply with the restlessness of Dub Nation, a fan base yearning for both continuity and reinvention after years basking in the glow of 3 championships. Will adding Horford be the jolt that recaptures that Warriors magic, the experience to steady a rising tide of young players hungry to prove themselves? Or could this be a siren call that masks deeper uncertainties, the clock ticking louder for a team entering a tricky phase where age, health, and contract demands collide? The narrative is swirling with all the intensity of a playoff buzzer beater. Are we witnessing a quiet pivot in the franchise's saga that edges past the shockwaves of the Kevin Durant era? A subtle but seismic move bound to reverberate through Dub Nation's collective soul? Front office chess is underway behind the scenes, with ownership and management balancing the tightrope of financial prudence against the desperate desire not to let the dynasty slip quietly into the twilight. The palpable absence of clear moves in free agency leaves an air of suspense as thick as the fog rolling over the bay, each moment loaded with questions. Is Horford's reported handshake deal a genuine signal of intent, or a negotiating tactic in a game of limited options and limitless stakes? Could the Warriors be betting on the psychological edge of family loyalty, igniting a veteran's fierce comeback, channeling Ian's youthful passion into a winning formula on the court? What if Horford doesn't just arrive to defend and stretch the floor, but to stabilize a team fractured by past trade rumors, backcourt instability, and the weight of championship expectations? What if this is about more than spacing or rim protection? What if it's about culture, legacy, and faith in the human side of the game? And then there's the timeline. Every day that passes without confirmation only adds to the tension. Warriors fans are refreshing news feeds, watching for even the faintest sign of movement. Is the front office waiting for Klay Thompson's situation to resolve? Are they holding out hope for another surprise move, a veteran wing, a savvy backup point guard, a reunion with someone like D'Anthony Melton? The offseason may be slow, but the stakes have never felt higher. Meanwhile, inside the Warriors' practice facility, young players like Moody and Kuminga push harder, sensing that roles could shift overnight. The presence of a seasoned leader like Horford would not only elevate their games on the court, but potentially help shape the next generation of Warriors basketball. His leadership is quiet discipline, commanding. He's been through the wars of the postseason and knows what it takes to win not just games, but moments that define legacies. Nobody doubts his IQ or his ability to elevate a locker room. And still we wait. Will Ian Horford's dream tip the balance? Will Dub Nation embrace another former Celtic with the same open arms they extended to Andre Iguodala, Sean Livingston, or even Andrew Bogut? Can a 39-year-old big man truly alter the course of a franchise known for speed, shooting, and small ball death lineups? Or is this one of those strange, beautiful gambles that only the Warriors could pull off where strategy meets story and narrative meets need? As a lifelong believer in the Warriors' brand of basketball, at times heartwarming, often relentless, always electrifying, my pulse quickens just dissecting these layers of strategy, emotion, and legacy tangled in this potential Horford homecoming. The wait for official confirmation feels like the calm before an epic storm, that suspended breath before destiny unfolds. But here we are, staring into the unknown with clenched fists and bouncing hearts, wondering, will this be the spark that rekindles our dynasty's flame, or the crack that signals its fracture? Drop your unfiltered takes in the comments. I'll be right there, heart in hand. This changes everything. If you felt your chest tighten at the thought of Al Horford stepping into the blue and gold locker room, leaning on those wary shoulders of his to steady our next era, I want you to shout it out right now, because this could be the island of sanity in what feels like an ocean of uncertainty for Dub Nation. This isn't just about a guy adding some minutes off the bench. It's about whether the Warriors are choosing to lean into the shadows of their glorious past or boldly sprint into the unknown with blood, sweat, and swagger. Picture this: Horford, eyes locked on Steph, not just as the fierce competitor lighting up the court with 40-foot daggers, but as the father figure mentoring his own son Ian in the grandest arena of all the Chase Center hardwood. It's a storyline dripping with cinematic weight, because it forces us to confront everything we thought we knew about how NBA dynasties transform, sometimes not through explosive trades or marquee signings, but through the quiet, relentless pull of family and legacy. The front office's silence this offseason, those invisible walls built around Kuminga's contract negotiations, those whispered meetings steering every move feels like a standoff, and tension is thick enough to cut with Draymond's patented intensity. This dead air makes my mind race. Is this a sign of confident patience or creeping indecision? When warriors like Moody are knocking on the door, hungry to carve out their space amid the ever-bright spotlight of Steph's reign, does Horford's possible return signify a hedge against chaos, or a delaying play that might slow the natural ascension of the new guard? We all remember what stability meant when Looney was anchoring those boards and setting screens with calm precision, a steady hand in the storm. Now, sans Looney, the Warriors are dangling on a knife's edge. Will Horford, at this juncture, In his career, bring that steady wrist to calm the rising tide, or has the clock ticked too loudly on the last of the true championship veterans in this locker room? And then there's Steph. I've watched break records while carrying expectations heavier than any other player ever has. His cryptic, if, when, on Horford's arrival is a carefully guarded gatekeeper's nod, but it fuels as much fire as it contains. Is that restraint born from trust or hard-earned skepticism? Behind those trademark bucket-stealing grins and crossovers, is there a weary awareness that the dynasty's next chapter demands more than sharpshooting demands? Bond, endurance, and above all, unshakable belief? Because let's be real, from 5 straight finals runs to now a silent storm in free agency, a team that can't just flash rings, but needs to rebuild its heartbeat. Warriors are at a crossroads where love for the game collides with the merciless logic of a league that evolves, burns bright for a season, then devours all who grow complacent. Throw in the whispers drifting out of the bay, the subtle shakeups in the coaching staff's rumor mill, the poker-faced looks exchanged in practice at how Kuminga's role is shifting, the way Wiggins' return is both a blessing and a question. Mark, and suddenly this isn't just about Horford. It's about the fragile ecosystem of championship culture, ready to either blossom or break. What if those quiet dinners between Kerr, Bob Myers, and Horford aren't just talks about deals on contracts and minutes, but soulful debates on whether the team's identity can stretch to fit a veteran quietly reclaiming relevance? What if Ian's passion, that innocent zeal for Steph and the game, is more than a sweet sidebar? It's the ignition for a veteran deciding he's not done writing history, that the ringless seasons ahead aren't the end of his story, but the beginning of a new chapter where mentorship and legacy collide. I don't know if I can handle the weight of that decision, because what it means for Curry, for the young stars hungry for mentoring, and for the soul of the Warriors is enormous. Will the Horford handshake become an emblem of resilience, proof that even as some wheels turn slower, the team spirit is unbreakable? Or will it be a sign that the front office is clinging too hard to the past, risking chemistry for crutches, smothering youthful fire under veteran breath? The possibility that this pivot could stop the unstoppable or reignite a fire thought to be fading is a razor's edge no fan wants to face unprepared. My gut tells me there's something raw and real underneath all the guarded smiles and vague press responses. Something primal about family ties and legacies that transcend contracts and box score production, but that same gut trembles with fear that basketball is cruel, that timing matters, and even kings must know when to bow out or be forgotten. So here we stand, a dynasty dangling between a whisper and a roar. And I'm telling you, I feel every tremor in my bones, every electric pulse of hope and dread. For years, I have lived and breathed Warriors basketball through every heartbreak, and every parade through every buzzer beater, every blown lead and every historic comeback. And right now, before the league wakes to the reality of what Golden State might drop next, I'm spotting something unmistakable at crossroads, not just at the salary cap table, but in the very heartbeats of Dub Nation. A choice that could rewrite what it means to chase greatness when the dynasty's sun is setting, but refuses to dip quietly into the night. Now it's on you. Drop your rawest, hottest takes below. No filter, no holding back. Tell me what this potential Horford move means to you: salvation, surrender, or something wild no one's seeing yet. I'll be in the trenches with you, deep in the comments, ready to break down every angle, every rumor, every hope and fear as this saga explodes across the bay. And trust me, this ride is just getting started.